We thought we'd take a look back at Shane Dawson's documentary about Tanacon, because we believe it needs a closer inspection. Now, for those who remember or don't remember, Tanacon was an event that Tana Mongeau threw that became a scandal when it fell apart right before the internet's eyes. A lot of people had essentially been conned and put into a bad situation due to Tana's carelessness. When Shane Dawson heard about this, he decided to make a documentary on it, and we want to dive in and analyze that documentary together. So let's jump right in.
So with that being said, VidCon, anyone who created VidCon, I think all of the rebelled people and all of the unwanted people should host a little meet and greet in Anaheim, California on the same days as VidCon.
So the documentary starts off with old footage of Tana announcing that she'll be throwing an event to spite VidCon because she was unhappy with the way that they were treating her. She's careless and cocky as usual, which sets the scene for why and how this event unfolded.
I'd love to do it. To have Shane and his friends supporting my convention is literally the most jaw-dropping, tear-jerking, emotional thing to have ever happened to me. Like, I literally every single day, once a day, get brought to tears at the fact that Shane loves me and supports me.
It then follows with old footage of Tana gassing up Shane for choosing to be a part of her event. And off the bat you can tell how disingenuous Tana is being, because she's doing her usual as kissing that she does with every influencer she attempts to charm. She does the same thing with Trisha Paytas, where she goes on and on about how she's inferior to Trisha in every way, and she's so lucky she'd even look her way. Tana has a habit of trying to charm people this way so that they will like her, and it seems to work for her. It definitely worked for her with Shane.
We're never getting in because there's no way to get in.
Then she needs to give everybody their money.
Yeah!
Refund! This shit show couldn't get any worse!
We then see footage of the disaster that was Tanacon, with fans unhappily expressing their frustration and disappointment with how the event had turned out, with many demanding refunds for time wasted and for not receiving what they had been promised.
Are you guys having fun today?
As you can see, the crowd was not happy, and many people actually got injured during this event, with many people getting dehydrated and severely sunburned, because Tana had left them out in the sun without any way to get in, and without any refreshments nearby to keep these people cool, because as you'll later hear, she thought it would be more exciting for them to suffer.
Is that bright enough?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot going on right now.
Now, for anyone who has ever seen a Shane Dawson documentary, you'll notice that he does his usual dramatic intro before he suddenly bursts into the occasional giggle. You'll see this a lot throughout the documentary. Not only this one, but every single one he does. It's like he isn't quite sure how to talk about a serious situation without devolving into giggles. And I'll tell you right now, this documentary ends up being anything but serious.
I am about to go interview Tana Mongeau, about a lot of things. But we've been filming all day today because a bunch of stuff happened that I'm going to get to. I literally don't even know where to start. I'll start with Tanacon.
So Shane shares that he plans on interviewing Tana about the disastrous event, and lets viewers know that he's been filming the documentary all day. He seems unsure how to address the situation, so he opts for just diving right into the event itself.
So Tanacon was supposed to be Tana's version of VidCon. It's a convention where you can meet your favorite YouTuber. It's inclusive and anybody can come, and it was being marketed as like a free version of VidCon.
If you guys want to leave me suggestions of places in Anaheim to throw a free meet and greet at VidCon this year, let me know, because I'm going to find a place and I'm going to do it.
Shane shares backstory on why this event was even taking place and what it was, which is that it was supposed to be a substitute for an event called VidCon that featured other YouTubers that fans could go and meet. The organizers didn't treat Tana up to her liking, so she decided to throw her own event instead, to be petty, because she was feeling particularly vengeful and wanted to get back at who she believed had wronged her. Shane knew this and was on board.
And this all started because Tana made a video about VidCon where she was saying, oh, they treated her poorly.
Not only did VidCon decide last minute not to make me a featured creator, but they decided it would be better if they banned me from their event for life.
Now, whether what Tana is saying was actually true or not is up in the air, because Tana, as the internet knows, has a tendency to lie. But what truth we do know here is that Tana felt wronged, so she wanted to make those who had wronged her feel as bad as she did. So she decided to come up with an event that would compete with the event that would already be taking place that she allegedly wasn't allowed in.
And they were, doing a lot of shady things to YouTubers.
But every year you guys do everything in your power to make it hell for me, but only after I promote the out of your event, and don't you think that's up?
Now notice the way that Shane presents this. He says that Tana said they were doing shady things to YouTubers. But in the clip, we're shown she's only talking about herself. But you will hear later that Shane also felt wronged by these people, which is likely why he jumped in on her plan of revenge without much thought. Because that's what this was. This wasn't an event being thrown for fans. It was an event being thrown for Tana, and now Shane to get back at VidCon by showing them that they could be successful without them.
She wanted to create her version of VidCon, but better.
I would love to make this shit bigger, better, and freer than VidCon.
Now make no mistake, Tana didn't want to throw a better event for fans. She wanted to throw a bigger event to compete, with VidCon to rub it in their faces that she could essentially steal the attention away from them toward her. This was nothing more than a you-know-what measuring contest, and Shane was backing her up, knowing full well that that's what it was. This wasn't for fans. This was done for ego. He went in knowing that.
And then when that video went out, a lot of YouTubers started tweeting about it and kind of like siding with her. Like a lot of YouTubers were like, yeah, we agree, Team Tana.
So Shane lets viewers know that a lot of YouTubers agreed with Tana and right away backed her up. So again, these are people who know that she's doing this for ego and not for fans. And they're all on board for it, because they in some way feel wrong too. Remember, this is not about fans at all, and I need to stress that, because the whole point of these events are so that creators can go and meet their fans and vice versa. But that's not what any of these creators were interested in. They were interested in winning and feeding their own egos, Shane included.
And reportedly, there are already 80 confirmed creators to attend. You have Miranda Sings, Ricky Dillon, Casey Neistat, Bella Thorne.
What a guest list. Not exactly a list of pure intentioned people there.
It was pretty crazy because Tana's one of those people where she's very polarizing. A lot of people don't like her. A lot of people think she's a mess, like they don't trust her. They think she's lying a lot. But for some reason, this specific thing, everybody was like, I'm on Team Tana.
People don't think Tana lied a lot. They know she did. It had been proven time and time again. And notice here that Shane says that in spite of all of her bad publicity, people flocked to her side. But that's because they all had a common enemy. It didn't matter who she was or what she did. You know what they say. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Personally, I hope it does well because the success of others and people being more independent in this community leads to more success for others being independent in this community.
While Philip DeFranco is right in theory, he's forgetting the core fact here. That Tana was a selfish and careless young woman throwing an entire event purely for ego. not for her fans, not because she actually wanted to grow outside of the sphere and accomplish something, but because she wanted to rub something in someone's face. That's never a good reason to do something, and it definitely shouldn't have been looked at as a potential trend-setting move.
So then Tanacon became a reality. She was planning a convention the same weekend as VidCon.
It starts tomorrow at the same time VidCon is happening.
Right down the street from VidCon. Literally within walking distance. And this convention, she was saying, was going to be free or have really cheap VIP tickets.
And I would love to meet you guys for free and cause a ruckus for free.
This alone should prove how unserious Tana was about the situation. She cared so little about it, and it was such a petty, vengeful move that she planned it for the exact same time as the other event right across the street from it. Her motives and intentions were very clear. This was not something she wanted to do for fans. This is something she wanted to do for herself.
And all your favorite creators were gonna be there. Now she texted me and she was like, hey, I totally understand if you don't want to come, but like it would mean the world to me if you did. And I said yes. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I was literally at the first VidCon back in 2009 or 2010.
Now it took Shane next to no convincing to join in on this revenge plan, because that's what this was. A way to seek revenge, not a way to meet fans. Everyone who agreed to be featured at this event knew full well what Tana was doing and why. None of these people cared about their fans in this moment. They cared about their egos and helping Tana take down a company they felt had wronged them.
Hey, Shira Lazar coming to you backstage at VidCon with Shane Dawson. How was it? Because this is the first ever VidCon conference of its kind.
When it was just 1,000 people, and it was a few YouTubers, and it was really small, and I was there in my ugly vest and straightened hair.
So awesome, Shane Dawson's here. Can you sign my book, please?
Of course, yeah.
And I did that because the Green brothers, asked me to do it, and they wanted me to support them, and I did. So that's why I decided to go to Tanacon, because I wanted to support Tana. She was trying something new.
This is a disingenuous statement. Shane compared supporting Tana to comparing the brothers who started the original event. These are two different scenarios with two different motives. The brothers wanted to bring creators and fans together. Tana wanted to take a company down, to act as if he truly believed that Tana wanted to start a new venture for the sake of expanding her horizons is dishonest. This wasn't about supporting his friend in a new venture to help her be successful. It was about helping a friend with a revenge plot. There's no way to spin that.
And I was like, you know what? I hate conventions. I haven't been to VidCon forever. I hate this shit, but let's do it. So I didn't really do much research on anything. I didn't really know anything going into it, except for the fact that, like, my face was on the list of people next to Bella Thorne.
All Shane knew allegedly was that this was a revenge plot, and that was enough for him to agree. Think about that.
I don't know. And I was gonna do a meet and greet. I was like, all right, sounds good. Like, this wasn't my convention, okay? I wasn't a part of the planning. I wasn't a part of anything, except for the fact that I was like, sure, I'll come.
He's again being disingenuous here. Shane knew that his name and face would draw more attention to the event. Shane, at the time, was a very popular and big-named YouTuber. To have Shane Dawson at an event, especially when he said he never attended them, would have been a huge deal. And he knew that. It was a way to draw more fans their way to Tana's event and away from VidCon. To pretend as if he didn't know that that was happening and that that was the plan is again dishonest. He's acting as if he's naive and that his involvement was harmless. His involvement gave credit to her little project. They both knew that. That's why she asked him to attend.
Which now, in retrospect, is the worst decision I think I've ever made.
If Shane truly believes that being involved in Tanacon was the worst decision that he had ever made, he needed a lot more self-reflecting at that time. Remember what this man had been canceled for at that point. Things he had been canceled for repeatedly. Inappropriate things.
She created her own event called Tanacon, and it got shut down today.
Not only was Tanacon a failure, but it was a safety hazard.
In here, I need everybody to move and clear this out because we have the paramedics coming in.
Everyone is in this hot parking lot with no bathrooms, no water, no food.
Shane acknowledged just how serious the disaster of this event was. Yet, he'll seemingly forget that later down the line in this documentary.
I know you've been standing in the hot sun. I know you need water. I know you guys need food.
It caused riots.
Why are we causing a riot?
Please do not steal the badges.
It caused so many thousands of people to get sunburns, like third-degree burns on their bodies.
Keep in mind everything that he's saying now, because you'll see how easy it is for him to overlook and let go very soon, in spite of the fact that these are very serious issues that happened as a result of Tana's carelessness.
We were in line for almost 5 hours. As you can see, I am burnt. Actually, this hurts.
People were passing out. Nobody was even getting into the convention center. The convention center wasn't even a convention center. It was a hotel lobby the size of a Chipotle, and they were acting like they could fit 5,000 people in there, which is crazy.
Again, Shane is fully aware of everything that happened after the fact. And it's interesting that he comments on the size of the venue as if he himself didn't know where it would be. He was a featured creator. He would have had the information of where they were going. But again, take note of how serious this event falling apart was, because he'll soon try to make you forget.
Check-in line. This is crazy.
There too.
What? So you end up right here, but you start way back here.
And then of course it was canceled.
Okay, what's happening?
I don't know. They canceled it because there's way too many people.
There was a lot of drama involving that. I mean, you had James Charles going on a Twitter rant. I was with him when he was ranting.
Now, what's interesting here is that Shane references James Charles' tweet about Tanacon, where James said that he told Tana not to do half of the things that she was doing, which means James was fully aware of the plans. Now, if James was fully aware of the plans, don't you think Shane, the mega-featured creator, would be as well? Or are we supposed to believe that her biggest name at the event was clueless and in the dark about everything?
And, I mean, I know he was getting a lot of shit, but I agreed with everything he was saying. This was a mess. It was a mess. Tana wasn't taking accountability. She wasn't returning anybody's phone calls or texts. Her team was being confused and, like, not helping either. Everything about this was Titanic.
Shane says that he agreed with James Charles on what James had tweeted. Yet if Shane agreed, why didn't he try to stop Tana like James did? Why did Shane readily agree to her revenge plan without hesitation? Notice, too, how he refers to this event as the Titanic. You know, the tragedy that claimed many lives. If he thought it was similar, and that this situation was so intense that it could be described as the Titanic, why was he able to overlook this entire thing so easily? As you'll soon see that he does.
Like, everything.
Women and children first.
All right, boys, like the captain said, nice and cheery, so there's no panic. Wedding dance.
Everybody needs to follow the leader.
Now, it got canceled, thank God.
He compares it to this tragedy in a light-hearted manner, by the way, and then says he's thankful that the event got canceled. As if he had no strings he could have pulled himself. As if he couldn't pull out himself. He's acting as if he was just along for the ride on this. As if he couldn't have influenced Tana in any way to do things differently.
Nobody got seriously hurt. But now we're left in a place where I don't know if anybody's getting refunds. I haven't been able to really talk to anybody. But even more confusing, I've been hearing some crazy theories that maybe all of this was planned.
So Shane already begins to downplay this situation by stating that nobody was seriously hurt, in spite of us all seeing someone very young being carried away on a stretcher crying. He claims that he has no idea what's going on and hasn't really talked to anybody who could tell him. He then breaks away from this serious situation to talk about how there's a conspiracy, which highlights his interest in even investigating anything for this documentary at all. Because if there's one thing we know about Shane, it's that he loves a good conspiracy. So he heard that word and latched on, and now we've got a documentary from him as a result. It's funny that he acts like he had no idea how anything started or what went on behind the scenes when he arguably could have had the most access to Tana had he wanted it. Remember, Tana credits Shane with giving her a career and always speaks highly of him, often referring to herself as his protege. So Shane had no questions to ask before the event and during, but now that he hears there's a conspiracy theory, he's ready to ask questions.
To fail. It sounds crazy, but why else would they have a hotel lobby where it says on the website it fits 1,000 people? Why would they sell 5,000 tickets?
Again, he acts like this is brand new information to him, as if he didn't know so many people were coming to such a small venue, acting as if he couldn't have looked into this and found out about it prior.
Also, in all the videos of people at Tanacon, everybody purchased tickets. Everybody.
Featured creator badge. I have not seen a single other badge. Have you guys seen any people that claim they got free passes or anything? No.
She said that there were separate lines for VIP and regular, but whenever I went through the line, there was no difference at all.
Shane then starts talking about how there's no evidence of anyone actually showing up to the event for free, which had been the entire purpose of the event in the beginning. To be a free event for fans to come to where they wouldn't have to pay like they did in VidCon, which in that case, why would Tana even allow there to be an option to pay for something if the point was to allow free reign?
Nobody saw anybody with a free ticket, which is the whole thing. Oh, Tana's giving out free tickets.
And I would love to meet you guys for free and cause the ruckus for free.
Where are they?
Again, if they cared so much about the free aspect, why even allow an option to spend money?
And then the big story was, oh, 20,000 people showed up. And that's why it was canceled, because 20,000 crazy teenagers showed up and ruined everything for everybody.
And well, she expected about 5,000 people to show up. 20,000 people showed up.
I didn't expect 15,000 people to show up. It's nuts.
But then you look at the actual footage, and it does not look like 20,000 people.
Why is he acting so shocked? Tana lied. Tana lies. We all knew this then, and we all know it now. He was the closest to her, so he'd know that better than anyone. I don't know why he's acting so surprised to find out that less people showed up than she said.
Everybody that's been there that I've talked to said no, maybe a few thousand, not 20. So then you start to think, okay, what if this whole thing was... There was no free tickets. What if everybody paid $65 for a ticket?
And freer than VidCon.
And what if 1,000 of them were inside? And then the other 4,000 that paid to be there were outside waiting to get in. But there was literally no room inside. So it wasn't a riot.
Again, he harps on this free ticket debacle. But he knew full well that there was the option for some fans to buy a ticket. If they were all so interested in letting fans in for free, they should have done that. They shouldn't have added in the payment option. They should have regarded all people who came as the same, or at least should have planned to.
It wasn't like a bunch of crazy people saying VidCon. It was kids who paid money to be there, standing out in the sun, burning their ass off. Now the reason this makes sense to me is because, number one, who the fuck is Good Times Touring Company? Who is that? I've never heard of them. I don't know what they are. Are they even real? Number two, look at this picture, okay? This is a picture of a group of 20,000 people. This is what it looks like. All right, now this is the supposed 20,000 people that were outside of Tanacon.
Shane is listing off reasons and refers to the alleged free tickets, but the only reason he needs to know that people paid for tickets is the fact that he knew that tickets were being priced on the website. It's not that big of a mystery, but the fact that he starts this by questioning who the company that Tana hired shows that he's already trying to sway viewers into wondering about them being the culprit as opposed to Tana being it. He's already starting to shift blame here.
That's not the same. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, Shane, shut up. Why do you care so much? Who cares? It's not your convention. Nobody blames you. Like, get over it. Move on. I've heard that from a lot of people on the internet in my life. People are just like, you stop giving so much of a this.
Notice that he makes it clear that nobody is blaming him for this, even though he did play a role and should feel some guilt. Again, he allowed his face and himself to be included in this event. He allowed it to help promote this event. He gave credibility to it by co-signing it. Fans trusted him, and therefore trusted Tana by association. He knew that she had no idea what she was doing. He knew she was selfish and careless, and that she was throwing this event for ego, not for fans. He does have a role in this. He obviously isn't behind Tanacon, but he sure stood behind it initially to support it. His hands aren't entirely clean here. He didn't even bother to look into what she was doing allegedly. He didn't care enough to make sure his fans were being taken care of. The only thing he cared about was helping Tana in her revenge plot.
The reason I do is because I went into this thinking, oh, this is Tanacon. You know, it's going to be all Tana's fans, and maybe I'll be walking around and it's like, oh, there's the grandpa of YouTube. Oh, that's Shane. Oh, that old guy who does conspiracies. Cool. But like, we're here for Tana. Why would anybody who watches Tana give a f about me? I don't know.
This is another disingenuous statement. Shane is narcissistic. I don't believe for one moment that he thought nobody would care about him. That's why he was being a featured creator at this event, because they knew a lot of people would care. Another thing that points to him lying about this is later in the documentary, he'll claim he got a list of his fans who bought tickets, and he states that the number was too low, and he thought it would be way more than that. So Shane all along was fully aware that his name was drawing people in. He knew his fans were coming to this event for him. He didn't for 1 second believe this was all about Tana, and he was being featured just to maybe get second-hand recognition as he was walking down the hall. What would have been the point of him coming if that were the case? This just seems like a way for Shane to play the humble card. The nobody likes me, I'm not that important card. When they both knew he was, and that's why Tana asked him to come in the first place. It also seems like he's doing this to distance himself from the responsibility of the convention by acting like he didn't even know his fans would be there. This is a 30-year-old calculated man who has proven time and time again how much thought he puts into his projects. Yet we're supposed to believe he entered this project with Tana completely blind and unaware? I don't for a second believe that. And there's more he'll say throughout this documentary that won't add up.